What if I told you that somewhere right now, a robot is learning to backflip, brew coffee, and survive at the bottom of the ocean, all at once? Robots aren't coming. They're already here. And they're way smarter and weirder than you think. How Boston Dynamics is building robots that move like elite athletes. Why a robot dog in Sweden is learning like a real animal. No code needed. And the tiny underwater robot that's diving deeper than submarines. This isn't science fiction anymore. These breakthroughs are changing everything. So let's get into it. Imagine you walk into your garage one morning and there's a humanoid robot doing cartwheels. Not stiff, clunky moves. Real cartwheels. Controlled, smooth, like a trained gymnast. It flips, spins, lands perfectly, then stands up, slowly turns its head 180 degrees, and looks at you. Creepy? Sure. Impressive? Absolutely. That robot's name is Atlas, and it's the crown jewel of Boston Dynamics. Why is this robot moving better than most people at the gym? Here's the deal. Atlas is now so advanced it moves like a human, but with superhuman range and control. Recent videos show it running, twisting, even breakdancing with wild precision. It's all thanks to a unique design. Its arms, hips, neck, and waist can rotate 360 degrees. So while you and I are out of breath from walking upstairs, Atlas is doing backflips from a handstand. This isn't just for show. Atlas is learning using reinforcement learning, a method where it runs millions of simulations and gets rewards when it nails a move. The more it practices, the better it gets. Think of it like a toddler learning to walk, but with unlimited reaches and no scraped knees. But Atlas isn't alone. Over in China, Robotics is cooking up their own gymnastic machines. Their latest humanoid, the G1, starts at just $16,000. That's basically a Tesla. But it can jog, do flips, and maybe one day walk your dog. Their earlier robot, the H1, was the first ever to do a backflip using electric motors instead of hydraulics. That's a huge leap in robot flexibility and safety. The G1 is smaller and more affordable than Atlas, but it still pulls off side flips like a circus acrobat. It's part of a bigger wave of robotics focused on mobility and affordability. We're now heading into a future where you might own a humanoid robot for the price of a used car. But how are these robots getting so human? Well, a major upgrade came when Boston Dynamics teamed up with NVIDIA, the same company powering your favorite video games and AIs like this one. They're now using something called Jetson Thor, a small but ridiculously powerful AI computer that lives inside the robot. This chip helps Atlas think, react, and move in real time, adjusting to things like cluttered rooms, narrow hallways, and even uneven terrain. On top of that, they're training Atlas in a virtual world through Isaac Lab, which simulates every movement before Atlas tries it in real life. It's like giving your robot access to the Matrix. Before it ever takes a step, it's already lived that moment 1,000 times. But while Atlas is turning heads, something smaller and stranger is happening deep underwater. Meet the tiny robot that can survive in the Mariana Trench, one of the deepest, darkest places on Earth. Developed by engineers in China, this robot weighs just 16 grams, about the same as an eerily battery, yet it's been tested at 10,666 meters deep. That's 35,000 feet. Deeper than any submarine usually dares to go. How? It transforms. Its legs and fins change shape depending on the task. Need to glide? The fins stretch out. Need to walk across the seafloor? The legs extend while the fins tuck in. The tech behind this transformation uses shape memory springs, kind of like tiny robotic muscles. This means the robot can swim, walk, and explore extreme environments, all while being small and light enough to protect fragile ecosystems. And yes, it can also pick up sea creatures without harming them. Now let's come back up to the surface, specifically to a kitchen in Edinburgh, where a robot is learning to make coffee, even if someone keeps moving the mugs. At the University of Edinburgh, a team has created a robot that combines flexible joints, speech recognition, and adaptive learning. If something changes, say someone shifts a mug or closes a drawer, it doesn't freeze or freak out. It adjusts, figures it out, and keeps working. It can even open unfamiliar drawers and understand commands on the fly. This isn't your average robot arm. This is the first step toward a world where robots can work in real, chaotic human environments, like your kitchen on a Monday morning. But let's talk about where robots meet security. Over in South Korea, Hyundai Motor Group and Supriya are turning entire buildings into robot-friendly spaces. They've built Factorial Seongsu, the first robot-optimized commercial building. It uses 53 facial recognition devices and a team of robots that can roam freely through doors, elevators, and gates with zero human help. The goal? Smarter, safer buildings where AI handles deliveries, security, and even maintenance. Think of it as a building with its own nervous system, one that doesn't sleep, doesn't blink, and remembers every face that walks through the door. But perhaps the most surprising robot of all is learning like a dog, literally. In Sweden, a startup named Inuil created a robot dog called Luna. But instead of coding every move, they gave it something called a digital nervous system. And then they brought in a professional dog trainer. No, seriously. Luna learns by doing through real-world interaction, not through massive data centers or pre-programmed rules. It can already stand up, balance, and explore, and it keeps getting better. This tech could one day send robotic dogs into disaster zones, deep oceans, or even Mars, where they'll need to think and move on their own. So, what's the big picture here? Robots are no longer just tools. They're becoming learners, movers, problem solvers. From breakdancing humanoids to ocean diving bots, coffee-making machines to AI doggos, they're not just mimicking life anymore, they're evolving. And the line between machine and living being, it's not just blurry, it's fading fast. If you thought robots were still a decade away, think again. They're already here, and they're learning faster than ever. So, which one of these robots surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments. And if this kind of future tech blows your mind, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.